A lot of things can be written off as business expenses. That's a true billionaire in me speaking. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where we're all about value-adding content for you to live a fulfilled and authentic life, especially here on the continent of Africa. So today we're kicking off the new year, Happy New Year by the way, with the typical cost of living video. I'm so sorry if you can hear the church beside me in this video. They're driving me insane, but it is what it is. Welcome to Uganda. Welcome to Kampala, actually. The rest of Uganda is very nice and quiet. So we're gonna go straight into this video. Typically how I do this is to start off with my fixed expenses, variable expenses, then get into like if there's any miscellaneous costs. And then sometimes before I would add in like business and stuff, but I feel like that's going to be a separate video later in the year when I'm ready to kind of dive deep and be more helpful with that type of content. So right now it'll just be personal expenses. And then sometimes I mention a few things here or there that I might not personally experience as an expense, but I might know the value of, and then give you guys that information. All right, let's get into this video. Okay, we're gonna start off with the fixed. So I feel like some of these things that I considered fixed is just because I want to pay a simple price every time or simple amount every month. So for example, power. Last January, I explained to you guys that I was spending 100K and then I actually upped it up to 150K. I don't actually spend that much. I spend about 70, but there was one month where I accidentally double paid and then I realized I never want to hear that beep again in my life, the yaka beep. So I'm like, I'd rather it stick to some high amount. So for example, when I went to Canada for 2 months, I came back and I didn't even think about if my fridge was off or if anything was off. Then there'd be an issue because there was just power. So I upped it to 150K and I'm very happy at that. I know it's a lot more for a simple person like me. Typically speaking, I think I spend about 70K a month on power or something like that, but I'd rather be ahead a few months than behind. Okay, so some things that are fixed for me, I took out subscriptions. That's one thing that I had last January that was in here. So things like Canva, iCloud, Google Play, but I realized a lot of these things I was using were for business. So I moved those into business expenses and I just took it out. So we just moved into things such as contacts, glasses, things like that. I am blind like a bat. So personally, I have to spend money on contacts every month. That's 70K. I go to eye care, shout out to them. They're always amazing. Therapy is 150K for me a month. I had it at 0 because I kind of just copied and pasted my December. I just felt like I wanted to kind of pivot in a different direction for the next few months and try and like, I'm very big on physical therapy and physical fitness, sorry, which is a form of therapy to me. And I just felt like I want to go in a direction where it's more like life coach or someone to kind of, ideally, I think I've said this before in many of my videos, ideally I would love a friend who's a licensed therapist to be my therapist. Not to say anything bad about my therapist. I think she's amazing. I just feel like there's just so much that goes on in my day-to-day life that would be nice that someone already knows those details and then just kind of like guides me along the way. So I think because of that, I felt like I was going through a bit of a rut with therapy. So I just kind of took a moment off, but I do need to get back into it. It's a new year. It's a good time to like refresh goals and whatnot. So yeah, I know I had the flowers thing and a lot of people were laughing at me about that. I actually didn't keep that consistent throughout the year anyway. I just felt like I was quite busy and all over the place. So I'm just gonna keep that at 0 for now. I would love to see more freshness, but I think just for now, we'll just keep it at 0. But ideally it was like 40K before a month. And I've now learned to delegate and be a lot more intentional with my time and money. So for example, we'll get into food in a bit, but things like going to the market, which could be like flowers, would just end up like my maid will help me do that, and then I just gotta give her a little bit of a bonus on that end. Gym, this is a big category. So before last year, we'll go back to the January, I was spending, oh actually there wasn't on here, maybe Feb, maybe March, maybe April. No, I think I went back to gymming at my job. So I luckily enough had access to being able to gym there, but I actually started at an amazing gym. You guys have seen me talk about it all the time. It's my friend Cindy and Ishmael's gym in Naguru, which is called ABT. Yeah, ABT Health Club. Amazing. They have the best masseuses, the best environment, everything. I feel like there's some things that's why I'm giving this little disclaimer. Certain things I do feel like I need to invest in for my sanity on a day-to-day basis. So the gym was one of them. So my gym is quite pricey. I had to like eliminate some other things in my things for it to make sense. But it's $720 a month, and I justified it because it comes with a massage, and typically people pay for massage and all these other things you would pay for that's already included in the membership. So when you subtract all those things, it's technically the gym membership anywhere else in Kampala. Our gym memberships are very pricey. I've mentioned this before, and most of you who probably know this, who've lived in various different places around the world, know that even for a pretty nice swooped up gym, you're paying maybe like $40, $50. 50 is even a lot a month, but $40 a month. Or maybe that was before COVID. In Uganda, for a dinky gym, you're paying $100 a month. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at my 720. It's a lot, but I only gym and come home and go to work. So there's some things that I have to give. And I don't party as much. So a lot of my miscellaneous went into that sacrifice of paying for the gym. So that's my little disclaimer. Okay, groceries. December, I paid $200K because I was out and moving about a lot more, but this should be $360. I keep it at $100 for myself as an individual. I do eat meat. I think that's really what's most of the bulk of this, to be honest with you. But typically speaking, if you're like a vegetarian, it's a lot cheaper. Market runs are so cheap every week. It's even $50K for one person is too much for a market run. So just keep that in mind. Between where I eat, which is or get my meats, I get from Low Gourmet. Like I said, most people think it's a lot pricier grocery store, but when it comes to meats, it's the same price as everywhere else, funny enough, but they're a lot more intentional about their cuts and where they source their meats from. So that helps me, who has a very sensitive stomach, having lived in Canada and then moving to Uganda. So keep that in mind as well. But I find realistically $100 a month is good for groceries. My phone I keep at 70,000. I find that it's exactly enough. At the end of the month, I'm like, oh, I need to re-up. I have Wi-Fi at my house, Wi-Fi at my office. So this is really to make calls and to move around when I do need to be like filming and doing stuff all over the place or meeting up with people. So that category. Okay, so maid/cook. There was a time where I was trying to find someone to help cook my meals because I was so busy and I was all over the place and I was moving too much. But now that I've been staying home a lot more, we inside these days, I found that actually I'm okay right now to cook for myself. Realistically, it's not going to last for very long. I'm a very busy person with a very busy lifestyle, but for now it's okay. I know for live-in maids, like my friends who have like a live-in person who's there all the time, cooking, cleaning, and doing all that stuff is usually about like $500K a month or something like that. But a maid, if you just have someone just coming in, I remember getting quoted like $250K just to come in like 2-3 times a week or whatever, make your meals, do whatever you need to do, clean up here and there and whatever. And that was $250K. And then my maid currently now services all the apartments, so I don't pay her, but I do give her like tips here and there, just obviously out of kindness and because that just makes the most sense. So that right now is 0 in my category. Transport, which I feel like is unrealistic right now. I remember last year when I did this, it was I think I like $400K, that I increased it to $600K. If it's just straight office to home, it's about $400K. That doesn't leave much room with 200 trying to do all the things I do. I'm going to office and sometimes I'll have to go film somewhere. So that's like 3 or 4 trips in one day, moving about all the time. On the weekends, you want to go meet people, you have meetings, you have to do stuff, see family. So I feel like 700 to 800K makes the most sense for transport. I hate that I'm paying that much. And I realized, I believe it was 2 cost of living videos prior to this one, like 2 years ago, that this made sense when the oil was at like, we were paying like a crazy amount for gas. I think it was like maybe almost 6,000 per liter or per gallon. We do per liter. Per liter. It was like really spiked in COVID. So at that time, I had access to a car. So I spent that much on gas for that month. And I realized now it reduced, it reduced significantly. It didn't go back to what it was pre-COVID, but it's much less than that. And I feel like I'm paying way more than I would have if I was driving around. So right now it's at I'm going to keep it at 600K because it's January to March, pretty dead in Kampala, not really doing much, but still filming, just being smarter about how I move around, to be honest with you. But I'm going to keep it at 600. I don't want to be more than that. It's going to disturb me. If I'm paying more than that a month on moving around, I could cry. Anyway, moving on. Personal care just generally is extremely important to me. Like I said, there's certain things I need to keep up doing for my own sanity, my own mental health, and just pure happiness and joy. I highly encourage everyone to be on that same page too. Just because, I don't know, life is short, child. You gotta keep taking care of yourself as much as you're taking care of others, trying to make money, trying to make sure all your responsibilities are met. You need to take care of yourself. So massages are at 0 because that's in my gym membership, thankfully. Mani-pedis, I'm going to be realistic. I need to do these every 2 weeks because I hate to admit it on camera, I have gross feet. They need to be taken care of every 2 weeks. So I think when I go to Sparkles because it's very convenient. There's so many beautifully aesthetically pleasing places, but they're just not convenient. If you want to pop in and you're like, I need to do this now. I have 2 hours of my busy schedule in this moment. And they're like, oh, so-and-so's here. This isn't open. Oh, we have to go buy this product. I don't have time for that. So Sparkles works. I do white toes. It's very simple. And by the way, shout out to Hamza at Village Mall. Best pedicures I've ever had in my life. So they're 40K. Then I usually tip and stuff. So I round this to 90K because this needs to be twice. Like I said, it just is what it is. It has to be twice a month for me. I have lashes in here. I'm going to reduce this from my December from 180. 180 was for a fresh set. Most of you are going to glide over this next 1 minute because it doesn't matter to you, but this is part of the, I like to allocate every shilling and every dollar to be responsible, and because then you can reinvest it in things like my business and things to grow. So lashes for refills, I think are I'm going to say 85K, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to reduce that. And then natural hair and braids was 200K. I'm going to take that out because it's very random to each month. Right now you can see I have natural hair, so I'm good. If I do braids late this month, then I will change this. As you can see, every month is allocated for it. This was all from January to December. I always update it so I can kind of also compare what's working, what's not, what needs to be changed. And maybe some months are different. There's more responsibilities, then there's less. So I can put more into savings. So I would say I'd put this at 35K only because sometimes I run out of products, or sometimes my hair is just going through it or needs some trims and stuff. So I'll go to the natural hair salon, which is 35K for a visit, which is conveniently funny because 35K also to buy new deep conditioner or shampoo or whatever. So we'll just leave that at 35K. So that gets us to 2.3 M for both fixed and variable costs. So also when it comes to miscellaneous, I like to just keep in mind that as much as I want to be inside and be intentional with my goals, you still have life to live. There are going to be people who call you up. Mona called me up yesterday to go to Meta Toronto, and I was sick, unfortunately, but I wanted to meet up with her now next week. There's little things that you have to consider. So and just life is for living. As much as there's goals you want to meet, you still need to consider the fact that you got to see people at times. Like I said, January to March is very dead. So I think 400K is, I would even say it's a bit too much. But now, shout out to my page, Bachazi. I hope you guys go and follow it. And just the various different things that we're trying to showcase that I always show in my videos, but now on an Instagram level, from places to go, places to see, visit, things to go and check out to eat, views, and all the things that people pretty much DM me on a regular basis. You can now, I just be go on Bachazi and go find it. That's pretty much what it is. It's really A selfish, selfless endeavor. So in order to keep that going, it needs to be funded. Technically speaking, that should be paid on its own separately, but right now it's in the miscellaneous funds. Then eventually basically as the business grows and it can fund itself, then it'll go back and go into its own business expenses. But right now it's thrown into miscellaneous. So that's a budgeted $400K a month in total. So that leaves us at 2.7. That's a lot higher than I would like it. I know I said last year that I would like to live under $1,000 a month, but now that I think about it, I would like it to be a lot less because I feel like a lot of things can be written off as business expenses. That's a true billionaire in me speaking. But for now, we'll just leave it as is. Like I said, I'm not going to get into business expenses that I had down here like I did last time because those are all now been shifted to now that I have an organized, registered business, but we'll have a conversation in depth about that later in the year when we can break it down and explain to you what it takes to actually run a legitimate business here in Uganda. All right, so the next thing I want to discuss that I feel like I skimmed on last year, but I feel like I want to go more in depth about because I actually appreciate how it's done, is saving. I've had this conversation actually, like I always mention Mona because we always have the most amazing combos that are really thought-provoking and really leave you like thinking about your life when you're done meeting up. But she actually introduced me to the concept of circles. I didn't even know this was really a thing. I'm sure it's in Canada too, but I kind of skipped over corporate life and went straight into my own business and really being by myself. But circles, why I love them in Uganda is that it really enables you to be able to make big purchases in an environment that doesn't have a credit system and doesn't really encourage credit as much. Not really encourage, but doesn't, basically just not really a credit system. And which is actually a good thing. It's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing in an organized system where it pushes people to be able to grow as individuals, grow as businesses, and have access to funds at a decent interest rate in order to grow the economy. Unfortunately, we're just not really like that. Our credit is literally swiping on a credit card abroad. So if you want to get a car on credit here, it's like swiping for a car with your credit card abroad, which is wild to me. 20% is insane. Anything over 10% is insane to me, but like now that I've lived here, I'm like, ooh, 10% is nice. So savings, I would love to be in like a circled environment. I'm saying this now because I really want to be intentional about that, so that each month I'm putting down a sizable amount so that I can attain my dreams a lot faster. I'm a type of person where if I can see the money, I'm going to spend the money. So last year, like I said, personally, I had certain goals I wanted to meet, and I did a really good job. Then I got to a point where I don't know if I got tired or what, started withdrawing. I was like, no. We had met the emergency savings funds. We were putting towards a car. We had invested in the business, and then I got bored, and then it just didn't make sense. So I do want to intentionally start putting money towards something far, and then when I need it, it comes. So savings is huge. I love my friendship with Pauline. We actually were intentional. We both kind of fell off halfway in the year, but she went and like hyper put all the money for the rest of the year 6 months early, or no, 3 months early. And then I kind of stopped a few months beforehand, but every single month we were intentionally putting down a certain amount of money towards our savings group that we had as individuals. So I love that there's a big culture around that, given that we don't have a credit culture, and it's probably in our best interest as people at the moment with our current state of learning financial literacy that we don't have a credit system, because we would abuse the hell out of it. So that's one thing that I took note of. Okay, so a few other things I want to mention that I feel like if you're new to this channel, also welcome. That you probably are like, what? You don't have these things in your fixed and variable costs, but there's a reason for that. So for example, rent is not in here. My rent is luckily, fortunately, thankfully, thank you God, and thank you to the dear landlords of this building, I don't have to pay for rent. When there's various little things that need to be done, like I have to paint or whatever, little maintenance and stuff, that I do cover, which is fine, generally speaking. The landlords might watch this and be like, is she lying? But most things like painting, I did cover, and I will have to cover. I can even see little areas right now that need a fresh coat. But things like rent I do not pay, but my apartment for where I live in the proximity of town, which is about within 10 kilometers of the city center, is about $900 a month. So that's something to consider. I'm in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So if you're in like a 1-bedroom, that's at the moment in the same proximity, kind of, you're looking at, it's under 2M, which is good, which is about like, I would say 1.5, 1.7-ish, around there. All right, the other thing is gas. Gas was very hard for me to gauge on here, but it's still $150K, still the same price as last year, which is great. They haven't upped it for us. By gas, I mean like cooking propane for your kitchen. If you have electrical stove, great for you, but sucks for you if you don't have a generator or power source, solar, anything that can sustain that, because power does go when you least expect it. It'll be great for months, and then when you want to use something that's random, it's just gone. Just gone. Okay, so medical insurance. It is January. It's the first month of the year, so I did say that's when I would start my insurance. I didn't want to do it in the middle of the year. I just want to be organized. So it's going to be around 1M. For medical insurance, which is great. For someone who's sick right now, who was at the clinic yesterday wondering, do I need to pay for every little thing that they want to test? That's weird. That's weird. I'm so used to Canada, and I loved Canada for that simple thing of like, I could prick my finger and go, and they could tell me what's wrong with me. I already know, but I don't have to pay. It's a little abuse of the system. I wouldn't say that much, but I'm just saying, like, it was nice to not have to pay for little things. Water is also included in I would say my rent, but if I was renting on a regular basis here, that would be included in the package, water and Wi-Fi. However, of course, when certain things are paid for, such as Wi-Fi, it comes with whatever is given to you. So it is slow when everybody's here, all the units are filled and lots going on. So Wi-Fi a month with Zuku is, I believe it's $150K. So at its high speed, it's fiber optic, it's really good. Wi-Fi, it's just really hard when you're on, because I don't know what level we're on and what tier, but 150 is for like the basic tier. And that's really fast if you're on it by yourself. Just something to consider. And then there's just miscellaneous various other things where I feel like I always mention in my vlogs, so that means you should be checking those out. This year I do want to make my vlogs a little bit more intentional and more information based than more so just like come frivolously around with me around Kampala, but more like taking you to particular places, why I go there, why I enjoy the places, like reviews and such. Throughout. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up everything. I don't think there's anything else to add in terms of cost of living within Kampala. If there's other little things, please do let me know. Do check out my last video where I went a little bit more in depth for things like school fees. These are things I still don't have to pay for, so I didn't really want to go too much in depth about that. And then various other things, like say you have like an Ascari, you have a driver. Those are like perks and pluses and extras. But as a single individual living in Uganda right now, this is really my like general synopsis of my life at the moment. And it's pretty manageable. I feel like I said before, and I'll say it again until I have like the gazillion children that I want to have, I feel like living well below my means at the moment is really good. Oh, a category I completely forgot to mention was travel, but it is here. I feel like it's just something that I don't want to say it's an expense, but more of a bracket in savings to intentionally put aside, because now the money that I had that saved with Pauline in our savings group until the end, when my birthday is in December, that I intentionally was putting in from January, I went on a trip and I didn't feel like the weight of it, which was very, very nice. So that's just something to mention before I run away here. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Please comment below if there's any category that I forgot to mention or anything that you feel like you need to know more about in your life that I definitely will add, and respond to your comment below in the comment section. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification button, but most importantly, share this video with someone that you feel like would benefit. I do know a lot of people are trying to make the pivot. They want to try different places, see different things, whether you have children or not. Life is for living. Try a different place if you want to live somewhere else. I love Canada, will forever love Canada, it will always be a home to me, but Uganda and Kampala is my home now. And it's nice to like live between two places, but responsibly and realistically. Yeah, so please remember to share this video, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll check you guys next week. Bye.